Out to Brother Renato, Ragtime, RAG Multimedia, Brother Khalil. Look at the setup we got. You know what I'm saying? We ain't sitting in the radio station every week. We got a nice little backdrop looking at the whole. Look at this joint. Look at how we living. You know what I'm saying? We can see the whole city. So yeah, shout out. We got a whole. We here. What is that? Serendipity.
Serendipity at the Seneca One Tower.
Yeah. So this is a nice look. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A really nice look. So we appreciate being able to do this live remote broadcast, and I'm excited about our guest today. I've known him for years, and I'm excited about hear what he have to say in regards to his candidacy for the Buffalo Board of Education.
Yeah, and as we, I want to start by saying on October 24th at 6 p.m. we will be having our Buffalo Board of Education candidate forum at Mount Olive Baptist Church, 701 East Delavan. So please, if you can attend that. We have gotten confirmation from all 6 candidates that they will be there, and they will be answering some tough questions. But we'll also be taking questions from you, the listener. So if you have a question that you want to get in or that you want to ask, you can come to the forum. You can write your questions down, and we'll make sure we get that in.
Let me ask this question. I'm asking, too, if people can go on to either our Facebook page, we have a Facebook event page. Yeah. You can go to the website, but go on in some kind of way and register for so we can have an idea of the number of people coming.
Yeah.
We want to be able to get some snacks. We ain't gonna feed you dinner there, you know what I'm saying?
But get your bag of chips in the water.
But we are going to make sure when you come, we know it's the dinner hour, so we're gonna make sure you have something to snack on. So we want to get an idea of the number. So if you can either on
the event page, you can accept the invitation and hit going, and basically RSVP. So you definitely can do that.
And that's at For the Voters of Buffalo, New York. .org. That's the website, For the Voters of Buffalo, New York.org. The Facebook page is For the Voters of Buffalo N.Y. And so either one of those places, and get us, your RSVP so we can, count you in the number.
And we are live on Facebook. I got that call number one. The call number 716-573-0394, 716-573-0394. And we are streaming live on the Facebook. We are on BWNY News. You can go there if you want to see us live. If you want to see this view, if we look over our right, we can see City Hall. We can see all the buildings. It's a beautiful view up here. So if you want to see what we see, you can go on our Facebook stream, drop some comments. And
Serendipity Labs, the 29th floor of Seneca One Tower.
Beautiful facility. Facility. I can't even. Yeah, it's beautiful up here. It gives you a new perspective on stuff. And so, again, we've prided ourselves on bringing every person who's running for the school board, every person running for the Buffalo Board of Education on. And this week will be no different. We're joined by none other than at-large candidate Ed Spidell. How you doing this evening, Ed?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. For those who didn't see, Ed was on our We the Parents platform, I think way back in September. So if you want to see that, you can go on the We the Parents page and see that interview. But Ed, I like to start off every person with the same question. Why should somebody vote for you for school board? If you had to answer that question, how would you answer it?
This is how I'm going to answer it. I've been training to be a school board member for 4 years. I've attended every school board meeting for 4 years. I've attended every work session for 4 years. I've attended every meeting possible in the district that has to do with our children. I'm committed to full-time days doing this. This will be my career for the next 5 years. And I'm available. I'm available for the public.
Well, let me do this. I want everybody to hear me clear. I am not making an endorsement. That's not. I can't make an endorsement, right? But what I am doing is I am verifying. You know what I'm saying? That Ed Spidell, as president of the District Parent Coordinating Council, has been at more school board meetings than the school board members.
And they say that.
They say that.
Board members say that.
Every one of them. More than the superintendent, more than any of the staff. They've gotten married. They've had deaths in the family. I've been fortunate. I haven't had any losses, but I've not missed one. And I don't leave until the crazy hours. Like last meeting was...
Which by itself is a miracle.
11:15.
But I just want to, on the record, say that as a former president of the District Parent Coordinating Council and spent many, many days at those school board meetings, that they're long, they're drawn out, and sometimes they're contentious, sometimes they're monotonous. But in terms of somebody who has paid their dues, There is no question about the fact that he has been at these school board meetings. He make his voice heard. He represents the district parent coordinating council. And I'm just saying that not as an endorsement. I'm just saying that as a fact.
Objectively,
that's an objective fact.
Yeah, that's an objective thing. So let's talk about that, because you've attended every school board meeting. You've went to every one, and one of the things we always talk about on here is how sometimes those school board meetings become very messy, very long, monotonous, all those different words. So from your perspective, do you think you coming on the board, you'll be able to work with those 8 other people and not, we not have such messy meetings? Or what's your perspective on that?
Well, I commit to not being messy. As Sam would know, we have tough meetings when we attend these meetings, and my goal is always to find a solution. So I'm not going to argue on the stage, but I will work behind the scenes to get what we need to get for the students. There's no reason, you're not changing anybody's mind at the board table, like, Emmanuel, do this or else, or yell at you for 15 minutes. It's a waste of time. It's not productive, and I'm going to be productive. I'm going to have monthly meetings for the public. I already made the arrangement with Jennifer Rich, where I'll be able to go into community schools once a month, and the public can come talk to me. You can invite me to your church. You can invite me to an event. I'll be available. Tell me what you need, and I'll try to get it. Need 5 votes, so I got to find 4 people. And I think you can do that when you just use common sense and you treat people with respect.
Well, let me ask this. And this is probably, you're unlike, some people running for board are incumbents. You got 2 incumbents. You got 3 other newcomers. You're somebody that's not an incumbent, but you're not a newcomer either. You know what I'm saying? You've been around education. You've been the president of a district parent coordinating council, so you know the real issues. You know what I'm saying? You know what's impacting kids. So for you, as an elected school board member, knowing the history that what will be your top 2 priorities going into, have an impact as an elected school board member?
I only get 2. Wow.
Give us 3.
Well, the first and foremost, I would ask for an investigation of our special ed department. I think our special ed department is not serving our children. With 2 sons with autism, in the early time of your life, you go and you're like, these people are here to help me. When you find out over the time, they're there doing their job and they're trying to save money. Wow. So I really think we should have an outside auditor come in and investigate our special ed department.
Wow.
The other
they
thing,
did that before, just for the record. I remember back in 2007, 8, 9, they had Great City Schools come in and look at the special ed department and made like 128 findings when I was DPC president. So that's not unprecedented. That has happened before.
and that's why CPAC was formed, and they were
Exactly. That's why CPAC was formed. There you go.
Right.
Special Education Parent Advisory Council, for people who don't know what that means.
Thank you. So the second thing, I want to look at the budget. Where are we wasting $1.2 billion? So we can't continue to do the same things every year. So school A, the kids can read. School B, they can't. We send a reading teacher. Next year, it's the same thing. We don't add anything. We don't do anything different. We have to look at it from a different point. I'm not an educator. I'm a businessman. I don't waste money. So we have to look and figure out how to control the money. And I want to make sure we figure out this transportation problem, which means we might have to go to more neighborhood schools. We might have to look at that. Right now it's like 50%. Maybe we got to go up to 75%. We need to solve the problem one way or another. Since the transportation company doesn't want to give a full-time job to the drivers and don't want to give them health insurance, we're going to have to solve the problem in the Buffalo Public Schools.
Well, let's stay there for a second, because I really appreciate you prioritizing that. I literally, on the way here, just got off a meeting. I know you was on that meeting at the beginning as well. So we both were at the Operation Sunrise Transportation Committee meeting. The school district informed us that the data is showing that nationally that we're trending to have less bus drivers, not more. So in the city of Buffalo, we went 2 years without our children, because of a shortage of bus drivers, because of transportation. We went 2 years without our children being able to get picked up on time, being dropped off at a reasonable hour. They were not able to have after-school programs. They were not able to have modified sports. They were not able to go on field trips. Only the city of Buffalo. No other suburban school district had that issue because of the transportation issue. And the elected school board members allowed that to exist for 2 years before the community came together, and you obviously were part of that effort to push for a 3-bill schedule that changed that. So here's what my question is.
Well, I want to add context in there, because for people who don't know, and Lou Petrucci came and said that.
Yeah, the board
president said that.
Which is the reason why I'm really asking this question, because so the board members felt powerless essentially to do something about this. You know what I'm saying? And so they, in their position as board members, allow for that to exist for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? For our children not to be able to meet their needs. There are things based on the data that we heard today that essentially says that we can expect that the situation is going to get worse before it gets better. Is there something you can do as an elected school board member to say, if we can anticipate we're not going to be able to service every student equally and with equity, we have a responsibility to change from a choice district to a more community school or neighborhood school district so we can meet the need of every child equally and equitably? Is that something that the school board member can do? And if so, is it something you will do?
It's not something we can do. It's something we have to do.
Thank you.
So, and I want to address the transportation shortage problem we had. Sharon Cotman came to the meetings, but Larry Scott and Terrence Hurd never showed up to one meeting. They were never present. They were never
those are the
there.
people you run against.
Yes, they never once came to a meeting to support our students. I was the only one that attended every meeting. Between my inside work and your guys' outside work, we kept the transportation committee meeting bi-weekly, and we never gave up. You guys would do it from your side, I would do it from my side.
And whenever they tried to stop, I'm just letting the record reflect, you definitely was on them, asking questions as a president of one of the 6 recognized parent groups, asking for those meetings and making sure that because a staff person left. And the thing kind of slowed down.
Yeah, John Gonzalez left.
Yeah, and then you pushed to make sure that we kept that going. So yeah, that's accurate.
And I pushed for the new meeting today. I've been like, we didn't meet for a whole year.
That's right.
I'm like, we agreed to meet forever. Transportation will always be in concern, and we need to meet. So we need to look at every
angle. What we
angle.
specifically said is that we were meeting last year to solve the short-term problem.
Correct.
Related to our kids being able to get to school every day on time. But there's a long-term problem that, around school choice and neighborhood schools, and we agreed to meet on that, and we turned around and didn't meet for a year.
Well, the good thing, as a member of the Western New York Equity Coalition, Education Equity Coalition, we have UB doing a study so we can have the evidence to prove that we need to go to more neighborhood schools. So once we get that back, we'll be able to have evidence to push what we need to do and make sure we need to follow the federal law and the state laws, but we need to get our kids to school.
Yeah, but I think you make an important point, because a lot of times I remember as the DPCC president, we did a lot of things emotionally and reactively, and we did it based on anecdotal information. But because of our partnership with the UB Graduate School of Education and University Buffalo researchers, now we're actually getting the research to tell us what the data say on the effectiveness of school choice, on how neighborhood schools are working in different places out the country, so that whenever we get ready to have this discussion, we will have the data.
We'll
to
have
back
the
it up.
evidence to prove that what we're asking to do will work.
Yeah. So, but one of the things you brought up on there is this idea of community schools, right? And it's something that we are that now. We're obviously we say a school choice program, and we bus kids to whatever school they choose. I'm putting that in quotation mark. But one of the things we ask all the candidates is about community schools, right? Do you think that we should go back to community schools? Because we talk about how the governance model doesn't match the board, right? So I can vote for the East board member, but my kid might go to the Central District, and there's no alignment between the governance model and how we actually send our kids to school. So do you think the board should look at that and maybe change?
I think we're obligated to look at it. The families want it. There's no neighborhood that doesn't want it. It's funny how it works. Like every neighborhood, it isn't just South Buffalo that wants it. It isn't just Delaware. You guys want it. And all the families want it. We really need to look at what's best for the students. We have no family involvement because they can't get to the schools.
Well,
They
you
can't
made
walk
2
in.
points, and I want you to answer deeply on this question. First, you saying we're obligated to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then you said that, these are the previous question, you said these are things that we have to look at. But it's current school board members that's been there and they haven't looked at them. So, so why haven't people looked at these things already? Why haven't they made these changes already? We got a sitting school board.
I'm going to say as nice as I can. They're incompetent. I don't know what to say.
I don't know.
That was the nice version of saying that.
I mean, listen. So nobody's brought it up. No one's done it. The truth is, somebody has to act on behalf of the children. Mm-hmm. And for 15 years, I sat back and watched them not help my son. And then one day I woke up and said, you know what? I'm not fighting for my son anymore. I'm going to use us. The children have autism, this and that. And then, COVID hit. And COVID, I had to file a federal lawsuit, right? My son couldn't go to school. We were all there chasing Dr. Cash down, And from that day on, I'm running for school board. And I believe it will be the best thing for the city of Buffalo to give me a chance on the board. I am committed to doing it. I will be held accountable by a lot of people. A lot of my friends are parent leaders. You guys will be all over me. I don't expect anybody to hold back. I'm going to do the best I can, and it's for the children.
Well, you brought up two things that I think most people don't know, right? The school board members we elect in this election are going to have two things they have to do. One is negotiate the teacher's contract, right? Because in 2026, the teacher's contract is up, and another is maybe hire a new superintendent. And so do you feel like you are prepared to do those two things? Because one of the things we're going to talk about, at the forum, and we want to talk about publicly, is the fact that a lot of people don't feel like the contract the teachers got this last go-around was absurd, and it didn't work in the benefit of the family. So from your perspective, as somebody who may have to do that if you're elected, do you feel like you're ready to do that?
So I have 25 years of management experience. I work with P&Ls, profit and loss statements. I've also hired and fired people, interviewed thousands of people. So I believe I'm ready to do it. What I would say is we knew we had an after school problem and a summer school problem. Why didn't we negotiate that into the contract with the teachers? Why isn't that part of the contract? Why? So, we talked about, a lot of us talk about leaving the schools open later. Well, we're going to have to negotiate with 11 union bodies to make that happen. So we can do that, but it's going to be over a 3 or 4 or 5 year term. But no one's ever talking about it.
Well, I think it's important for you to give a little bit more detail to that, because now we feeded one of the reasons why we are cut back on after school this year is because they can't find enough teachers who are willing to do after school. Now, obviously, in the past, teachers did after school because they did it as a way to supplement their pay.
To make more money.
Now, because their contract is so good, they clearly don't need to, supplement their pay. They're the second highest paid teachers in all of West New York. And so now, all of a sudden, we got a shortage of teachers for after-school programs, and we can't do after-school programs at all our schools. You know what I'm saying? So do you think, like you said, what is the reason why that wasn't part of a negotiation with teachers in anticipation of us not having enough people for after-school programs?
It's like most things in the district. They're short-sighted. We have no plan for long-term building maintenance. We have no plan for long-term field maintenance of our athletic fields. We're not planning ahead. Every time we have a problem, that needs to go on a checklist. We don't have enough teachers. We're going to have to negotiate for more teachers. We don't have this. Let's negotiate. We can't figure out how to hire bus aides in a timely fashion. Who goes to a minimum wage job and waits 3 months to start? No one in America, right? So everybody who's applying for that job needs the job today. And we make them wait weeks to get interviewed and then weeks to go through the process. I was saying today, it took them 90 days.
Wow.
Then they have to go through training. So we hired today. Hopefully by April, you'll be able to be on a school bus working with our kids. We have to plan ahead. We have to see what the problems are. Look, there's going to be problems that you don't know are there, but then you have to write down, we need to look at this problem in our next contract negotiation, in our next year's budget. You always got to look forward to what
It's
we're
interesting
doing.
that you say short-sighted, because I'm going to ask this question this year. Let's say you are elected to the school board. I mean, ever since, I think maybe for the last 6 or 7 years, we've been doing something because of the shortage of bus aides. I mean, it was unsafe on the bus. I remember, we did job fairs, we did everything. Is there something that can be done as opposed to having a crisis management model where you just wait till the crisis and then try to do something? Is there something that can be proactively done to not be in the position to where we don't have enough bus aides?
So I'm going to give you an example. When I ran Dollar General in Central Park Plaza, every week, no matter what, I interviewed potential candidates, even if I was full staffed. We need to put one person that's all they do. You get an application in, Emmanuel, call Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you come in today, tomorrow? How fast can you get here? And then we should look at the process in City Hall. What's going on? How come we can't get through the process in City Hall? And do we need to put more money into that? What do we have to do? We shouldn't be short aides for the classrooms. We shouldn't be short bus aides. You know, a driver recently got assaulted, no bus aid. 62-year-old man, no bus aid on the bus, full bus. Like, come on, what are you guys doing?
Well, last year there was a school with no bus aid, and the year before last, and a young girl
Had to say, you talking about say
the bus driver had a heart attack, and the little kid had to go and stop the bus. You know what I'm saying? No bus aid.
Yeah, one of the things I want to ask you is about the spectator policy too, right? One of the things that I know frustrated me and frustrated a lot of leaders is that we had a meeting last year about the spectator policy. We had all the stakeholders in there. We brought parents in. We brought community leaders in, district people in, and we came up with a policy that everybody deemed as fair, that everybody thought made sense. And then this year we come and we revert right back to the old policy. As a school board member, if you are elected, how would you look at that? Do you think that would be is that fair? Did you agree with the spectator policy, or is that something you think we should go back to how we negotiated it?
I would argue it's not a policy because it didn't get passed by the board. First off, second,
So it's just an administrative regulation.
yeah, it's not a policy because it's not.
So has the board weighed in on it?
No, there hasn't been. And how sad is it that we spend our free time advocating and going to meetings and agreeing on something, and then people getting paid just change it because they can? I don't agree with that. You know, a lot of the parents were arguing for like the wellness policy. Could you please wait? We'd like to talk about it. They passed it. I'm not passing any policy. If speakers are there and they want, and we can wait, I'm going to wait. Why? What's the difference if we pass it on September 15th or October 16th, right? We should, the people who are giving their time, we should really honor that. They don't get to make the decision, but their input is important. They're the ones that, DPCC, PTO, CPAC, Jessica Bauer-Walker's,
CHWs,
MVP, they all we're living in the trenches. They know what's going on with the families. Listen to them. They'll actually make the schools, teachers, and the principals' jobs easier if you let us help.
So one of the things we also ask is, you don't have to be the top vote getter to win the race. You got to be in the top 3, right? So for first question, how do you plan on, like, what's your plan to win? How many votes do you think you need to get in order to feel comfortable to win? And then I'll ask the second part of that question.
So I did the math. There's like 63,000 votes the last mayor's race. So I'm guessing 12 to 15,000. And I don't know if that's enough to win, but I think that's enough to finish third. I said, this is a new ground. We're going under new territory here. No one's ever done it before. Most candidates don't run against anybody. I'm running against 5 other candidates.
And this is the first time we have a
at-large
race that's in November.
Yeah.
Last time we had an at-large race, it was in 2019 when that was a May race.
Yeah, and my second question is, we ask all the candidates this too. Do you encourage people to vote for 3 candidates, or do you encourage them to just vote for 1? What's your perspective on that?
Bullet voting.
Yeah.
What do we call it? Pegging? My voters are going to peg. They're picking me. No mercy votes. I'm sorry.
You call them mercy votes?
Yeah, because if you don't know don't vote for a candidate you don't know. That's my thing.
I agree with that 1,000%.
If you know a candidate and you want to vote for a second person, you know them, then feel free. But don't mercy vote to people because you think you have to vote for 3. I'm third on the spot, so if you like the number 3, just go right to the third candidate and vote for Edward H. Spidell on the bottom right of the ballot. I'd appreciate your vote.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
So, I mean, I guess one of the other issues that, we have been, looking at as it relates to school board members, for a long time, not only is the issue of not having the governance aligned, what would your action be as it relates to right now? If I live in one district, I live in the East District, my kids go in the Central District. During the district races, I do not vote for the person that represents me. So what would your solution be in the short time? Do you continue doing that, which means my vote is not reflective of the person that represents me, or to do something about it, which means you would either have to make all the positions at large or go back to neighborhood schools so that the neighborhoods the operations line up with governance?
That's a good question. So I've been arguing for 4 years that South Park should have the autism program. So my family has 3 generations of graduates from South Park. Much like Emmanuel, which loves Hutch Tech, I love
Tech high.
Tech high.
right? And I love South Park, and my mother's graduate Kensington, so Olmsted sort of fits that way. But I don't get to vote for, like, voting for Terry Shooter, which I would vote for over and over. She's not in charge of my school. So we're at Olmsted 156. I love Olmsted. I'm very involved. They love me there. But we either need to go to neighborhood schools, or we do need to consider moving. I think some of the districts will fight because they might lose their person. So maybe if we didn't go to all at large, maybe we would grow the at large by a couple seats, or 3 would have to be an even number, right?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the only way it works is either you aligned as a neighborhood school and you have neighborhoods and at large, you keep the same system right now if you go to neighborhood schools. Or if you're going to keep choice, you have to go to all at large.
Yeah, I don't like choice because that's the biggest lie we tell our families. We don't get a choice. My son had no choice for his high school.
As a matter of fact, the school board president told us right here on this show, Lou Petrucci, he said only 70%, he said 70% of all students are placed.
Right.
Only 30% of the families actually have a choice.
How about we give all the schools the same opportunities? Like, why do we have 5 schools that we pick on? Like, we send the students that have the most challenges and we send them there, and we don't protect them. Like,
because we also have 5 criteria-based schools where we get to cherry pick our students. You know what I'm saying? So so basically, the one extreme creates the other extreme.
yeah, it's awful. I mean, City Honors and Olmsted and Da Vinci and Hutch Tech, they're great schools, right? But South
At
Park's
the expense of other schools.
yeah,
though.
right. But South Park's a great school, but they have to work twice as hard just to get the students to come to school compared to the competitors. And I'm not picking on those schools. The system is set up that way, and you get sent where you get sent, and that's where you work. It's always funny when people work in Da Vinci. I remember my daughters there, and the teachers were like, "You're lucky to come here." To my daughter, I said, "She earned the right to come here. You're lucky to be here because you could be at Bennett or Burgard or South Park or MST." I said, "Don't ever talk to my daughter like that again." My daughter is an honor roll student, 90-some% attendance. She's now a registered nurse. So so I'm like, don't even have that attitude.
So at the last school board, the current superintendent was chosen without a national search. Essentially, Buffalo Public School District is the 2nd largest school district in the state. We pay our superintendent, somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. Last superintendent before this one, we was paying over $300,000.
Dr. Cash came in and cleaned up.
Stole that money.
But what I'm saying though is that we made the decision to put somebody in one of the highest paid civil service positions in Western New York, and we did that without doing a search. I mean, if you are elected to the school board, would you do that again? Would you, as a board member, think it's responsible to make that decision without doing a national search? Matter of fact, it wasn't a search at all. You know what I'm saying? They brought in an interim and they hired them and they did no search.
So let me first say that I think Dr. Tanja Williams-Knight is doing a very good job. I think that has worked out, even though we didn't do a search. But I think
let me just
now,
say this before you answer then, because I want to be crystal clear that, even a broke clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So why am I saying that? I'm saying that we disagree, but at the end of the day, I think it worked out. But that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that, do you think it's responsible for a school board who has responsibility over taxpayer dollars to hire a superintendent without doing a national search?
simple answer is no. We need to do it. Maybe I answered that backwards. It's not responsible to not do a national search. You can do a national search and hire a local person, but
Exactly.
you need to do the national search. You need, no one heard of anybody being interviewed, right? Like all of a sudden we were at a meeting and there she is, the queen. She's the queen now, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
And
And
I was one of the few people there that night. I'm like, what's going on? It was the whole auditorium at Waterfront felt strange, and Dr. Williams, the only one walking around with a little smile on her face, and later on she's the
Well,
superintendent.
obviously we raised issues and concerns, on the radio show about it. Again, like we said, it worked out, we've admitted that it worked out. But I'm just talking about as a responsible
lucky.
board member, to not do a search. It just seems like being
I
something
would-
that we gotta take a second look at.
I would ask for a national search, and I would probably demand it. I think it's what does it hurt, right? Like, just bring in 10, 15 candidates. Let's talk to them. Let's get somebody that can evaluate talent.
Yeah.
I want to be able to evaluate talent. That person needs to bring in some other talent. A lot of our talent's been around for a while, and they're getting close to retirement. We need to replace them with quality people.
Well, it
So
looks like from Buffalo we put superintendent. I think it's 9 superintendents across the state that came out of Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you got. I ain't gonna name them all, but you got quite a few. You know, obviously you got Dr. Brown in Williamsville. You got Eric Rosser. You got the David Mauricio. You got the guy out in Kenton.
Sabatino Samada.
Samada. You got Janelle, Dr. Janelle Morris. You got in Lackawanna. You got Dr. I can't think of it.
What's her name from CLRI? She just got her own district.
Yeah, that's right, Dr. Fatima Morrell. I mean, so literally, we got 9 people that came out of Buffalo in the last 5 years that are superintendents across the state right now.
Yeah, so we have to pause really quick for a 10-second station identification. So we will see you on the other side of the break after this 10-second station identification. We are back. Welcome to For the Voters of Buffalo, New York. We have our special guest, board member candidate Ed Spidell, who is joining us for a few more minutes because, we got to be respectful of his time. Again, this is a call-in show. You can call in at 716-573. Got to pull a number.
0394.
Yeah, 0394 573-0394. So, Ed, we got about 1 or 2 questions left that we want to get to. So we want to close with this. You talked a lot about how you all the work you've done, how you arrived at this place. But can you give people maybe a little bit of background about you? Where does Ed Spidell come from? How does Ed Spidell arrive in the school district where now he's a parent advocate? Just a little bit about your background.
Oh, yeah, sure. So as a teenager, my father was the president of South Buffalo Community Association, and my father taught us your time is as valuable as your money, so you can give back to people without giving money. We grew up poor in South Buffalo. So from that day, as a graduate of South Park, I got a community service award when I graduated. I joined the U.S. military. One of my favorite things I did in my life, and I swore to that oath. I re-enlisted once. I swore twice. I believe in that oath. I spent 25 years mostly in the city working in retail. And then I worked Central Park Plaza. I used to go to all the meetings at South Buffalo Charter. I was a PTO member. My son got autism, and my life changed. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to share. I was very angry when I first started coming around. Like, no one's helping me. What do I do? And I just learned. Like Dr. Wendy Mastrada, Sam, Kim Hernandez. Kim Hernandez took me aside and said, calm down, it'll be okay, right? Kim's one of my best friends now. She's always there. She's supportive. And, I just wanted to help you. You know what? It's cool when someone sends you a text message going, you're the only one that could help me, and thank you. Or all I wanted was someone to listen to me, and you solved my problems. It's so simple. I don't understand why we don't do it more. Like, these problems our families have are really silly problems that we can fix just with real conversations.
Anything you want to ask as we close?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess where it really comes out. I went to the last the school board forum, right? And it was nice, and everybody was cordial to each other. But I didn't hear what separated y'all from each other. So I guess what I want to know is that who's running for school board. You're running. What separates you from the other people that you're running against? Or are y'all all the same and it don't matter?
No, we're not. So we're clearly not the same. First, the rules were we had to be nice. The rules were that. Okay? So I agree. We all followed the rules. We were all pleasant to each other. So why am I different from them? 3 candidates woke up one day and said we're going to run for school board. They're beautiful women. They're smart. They're intelligent, but they're not ready. The other 2 candidates had 5.5 years to do something. They've done nothing. They haven't fixed anything. I have 12 resolutions. Well, what are the resolutions? Let's talk about them. You had a resolution that was a law in the state, and you just made a resolution so you can say you did it. Like, bullying was not allowed before you made the resolution for no bullying. I just think that if everybody just listens to the six of us, I'm the only one that can answer every question. I'm the only one that's confidently answering questions. I have no notes in front of me here. I never have notes in front of me. I don't need them. I've attended every meeting. I know what's going on. I've been part of so many different groups. My closing statement, I tried to run through everything I did. I needed 5 minutes. They gave me 2 minutes. I couldn't tell everybody everything I've done over the years. So, that's the best way to say it, I guess.
Okay, well, I mean, that definitely separates you. But I guess if anybody who watched social media know that there's some controversy out there on social media where people are suggesting that, your opponents are accusing you of taking down their signs out in South Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? So you want to say on the record, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I'm going to say on the record that my lawyer sent them a cease and desist letter. My campaign spent $500. And why would anybody in their right mind steal a sign? I can't change your mind by stealing your sign. And excuse me, everybody, go to Facebook. I can't creep anywhere. I'm way too big to be creeping on someone's lawn to steal the sign. And they absolutely know who I am. So that's sad, and thank you for bringing it up, Sam. The union should be ashamed of themselves for allowing that to happen twice. 2 separate posts, and hopefully it won't happen again. I've kept it clean. Today I have a little rough on some people, but I've kept it clean. There's 19 days left. People, please get out and vote. November 5th. On this 26th, go out and vote for me. We're taking souls to the polls,
That's
right?
right.
Souls to the poll. I'll have some people out
That's
there.
the first
come.
day of early voting.
Yeah,
So people
first.
want to, and it's the last day you can register to vote. You can register to vote all the way up until October 26th. So souls to the polls, Saturday, October 26th and October 27th.
And I'm the only Edward on the ballot, so you don't even have to know my last name. Bottom right, I'm the 3rd spot, so make sure you hit me up. And my phone number is 716-578-3219. Feel free to call me if you have any questions, any concerns. I'm available. I'm not running or hiding from anybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything you want to share before you go?
I just want to share that these forums and interviews have been great. I was on today at 11 o'clock for Terry show. That was cool. I'm actually enjoying that part. It's stressful because I'm campaigning every day. I'm putting 21,000 flyers on everybody's doors. I've got signs all over the city. Trying to do what I can to let people know here I am. So thank you. I'm always available. After I get elected, feel free to invite me to your show. I'd love to hear it. The book 10 Things to Child with Autism. I shared it with you guys.
Okay.
I would like you to read it and sign it and pass it on to somebody.
Okay.
It's important. It will. This book will help you with your own children. They don't have to have autism for that to help you. It's the thing. I shared it 2 Aprils ago with the Board of Education and the Cabinet. And autism awareness is celebrated in Buffalo because of my advocacy. And if you don't believe me, go to this April's board meeting as the superintendent says it out of her own mouth. Thank you.
All right. Well, real quickly, very last thing before you go. I know you was doing some advocacy for the beanbag thing.
Cornhole?
Yeah. Cornhole.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that was a big thing. What's going on with your cornhole advocacy?
So cornhole is in every high school. And this year we got it in every K through 8 building. And now I have to get Aubrey to make it an intramural sport. And once it's an intramural sport, we can prove the concept. And then we can go to Section 6 and get it as an official sport. My original goal was to have it as a unified sport because they only have 2 sports, but anybody can play it. So it should be sports at all levels. And we have the ability to be one of the first districts in the whole nation to do that. There are scholarships now at college. If you Google it, college gave 2 students half a scholarship to go to school to play cornhole in college.
You can get a cornhole scholarship.
Hey,
So we're the
good enough.
first. We're ahead of the pack.
and that's your baby.
Yeah, and at the summit, 43 kids played for 3 hours, and they weren't on their cell phones. They all had fun. They were all, let me tell you, they're competitive.
Yeah,
they were all
cornhole
competitive.
cornhole
They
get
all
competitive.
wanted to win, and they all had and I had a great time.
Well, cornhole and pickleball. I don't know what is up with cornhole and pickleball, but those 2 things, it seem like they just taking the whole sport
Cornhole
thing.
is amazing.
If you want to play either, feel free to go to Glory J. Parks, not-for-profit. I'm the president there. We have cornhole and pickleball available for the public.
All right.
All right.
All
right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Ed. Thanks for
Appreciate
coming.
you.
We appreciate you coming. Yep. Yeah, no problem. Whew. Yeah. So y'all know every show we pride ourselves on talking about the ballot. So the beauty of the time we're in now is that we have sample ballots out. So if you want to go, we got a caller calling in. All right, we have a caller calling in. All right, let's see. Caller, are you there?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing? What's your question, caller?
How will you ensure that the needs of all students, regardless of background, are met?
Wait 1 second, caller. We bringing the board the candidate back.
Ask the question
Go
again.
ahead. Go ahead, caller. What's your question?
Once again,
Go ahead. Ask your question.
how will you ensure that the needs of all students, regardless of background, are met?
Okay.
The same way I do it now. I advocate for every student every day. So we're going to make sure whatever policies we pass, they account for everybody. Just because you have autism doesn't mean you aren't a student, right? Just because you're new to our country and can't speak English doesn't mean you don't have the same rights. Everybody has the same constitutional right, and I've been fighting for that for a decade or more now, and I'll continue to do it. And I'll treat every student like they're my own child.
All right.
All right, caller.
Caller, thanks for your call.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, like I said, y'all know every week I like to go over a ballot, but sample ballots are out. So if you want to go to Erie County elections.erie.gov and put in your information, you can actually see a sample ballot. You can actually go through. It's going to tell you where everybody is at. I'll go through like I usually do every week. Anything you want to say before I go through the? Yeah, you want to say something?
No. I mean, I'll have time to say it after, right?
Yeah. We got time. All right, so the first race you will see is the presidential race and the vice presidential race. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they are a Democratic and Working Families Party candidate. And then you have Donald J. Trump, J.D. Vance are the Republican and conservative candidates for the presidency. The next race you will see is the United States Senators race, which you have Kirsten Gillibrand as the Democrat, Michael Sapercone as the Republican, Michael Sapercone as the conservative, and Kirsten Gillibrand as the Working Families Party line as well. And you have Diane Sire that is running on the LaRouche Party. Again, my dad said LaRouche has been around for a while.
Linda LaRouche, yeah.
I've never heard of the LaRouche Party.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Linda LaRouche was, anyway.
Yeah, so the next race you will see is the Supreme Court Justice race. You can vote for any 4 seats. You have Henry Nowak, Catherine Pinto, Deborah
Pinto.
Pinto.
Used to be a school board member.
Catherine Pinto, Deborah Chimes, and Michael J. Norris. Then you have the Congress race, which is between Timothy Kennedy and Anthony Marecki. You have the state senate race, which is between April Baskin and John P. Moretti. You have the assembly race, which is unopposed, and that's Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes. You have the family court race, which is between Kara Buscaglia, Jeffrey Harrington, and Peter Vasselon. You have the district attorney's race, which is heating up. The district attorney's race, I don't know if people have been watching on TVs, but these ads is getting a little crazy. We'll talk about it after this. But you have Michael Keene and James R. Gardner. And then you have the Buffalo City Court race, which is between Rashid McDuffie, Aaron Elizabeth Hart, and Barbara Johnson Lee. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, it's important that you notice, and I said this last week, the reason why the school board race is in the bottom right-hand corner is because the school board race is nonpartisan. There's no endorsed candidate in the school board race. There's no Democratic candidate, no Republican, no conservative. There's no affiliation between a party and a candidate, so they couldn't put it up on top of the ballot because of that. So at the bottom of the ballot, you'll see 6 people running for 3 seats. You have Lauren Scott, Adriana Zulik, Edward Spidell, Terrence Hurd, Janita Everhart, and Razia Hill. And then you have 2 proposals, which is Prop 1, which we had a guest on here last week talking about. And then you have the proposal to alter voting requirements for the Erie County Charter for taxes. So that's your ballot. I encourage everybody to go to elections.erie.gov to see your sample ballot so you know what you're going to see when you walk in there. So, yeah, go ahead, Pops.
All right, so I just want to say 2 things. One, I want to encourage everybody to come out to the school board forum this time next week. Next week, Thursday, 6 o'clock. School Board Forum, which is sponsored by the Urban Think Tank of Buffalo, the New York Civil Liberties Union, and Education Trust New York. All three have co-sponsoring this really, really important school board race, the school board candidate forum. This forum, we're going to find out, we're going to go a little bit deeper than we saw in the last forum. You know, I know they said forum to be nice, but what we really want to do is we want to hear what separates the candidates in this forum. So we're going to ask real questions about, you know, why one candidate should be elected versus other candidates so that you have enough information for you to go out there and make an educated vote. We're not saying who to vote for. We're not endorsing anybody, but we want to make sure that you have all the information you need. So we've done 3 things to do that. Thing number 1 that we've done is we have this forum, so you hear directly from every school board member. The second thing we've done is we make this information available to you. You can go to forthevotersofbuffalonewyork.org.
But for the voters of Buffalo NY, just
For the voters of buffalony.org, and you will get the name and the bio for every school board member. And then we got 6 critical questions having to do with education policy and their position on everything from what's going on with the dual enrollment courses that we have for this district, what's going on as it relates to the literacy issues that we are facing as a school district. You know, 6 key issues that we got their answers on. So you can go to forthevotersofbuffalony.org and you can get that information. You can also go to the Facebook page for the voters of Buffalo N.Y. on Facebook, and you can get that same information, and you can get links. And we have links to the video. Every school board member that's been on a radio show. The radio show is right there, and you can hear from them directly.
Yep.
What do we do all that for? We wanted to make sure there was no reason why you as a voter could not be educated on what the positions of school board members are. If they're incumbent, we ask them questions about what they've done. So you know if they've done things or haven't done things. You know what I'm saying? If they're new, we ask them questions about why we should vote for them. If they somewhere in the middle, like our candidate today, you know, we've asked those hard questions so that you know who you are going to be getting as a school board member. So please, everybody, take advantage of one of those 3 things. The last thing that we've done is we've put together a voter guide. So all those answers that they gave will be in a voter guide. That voter guide we will be handing out on our Souls to the Polls. That voter guide will be handing out, when we do any event next week at the school board forum. We'll be handing out that voter guide. So we'll give you a takeaway where you can just come back and you can review before you make your vote.
Yeah, we have a call hanging on. Caller, are you there?
Yes, this is Abdul. I just wanted to say that you all are doing a wonderful job. I can't wait to see you all take this show nationally. The website is beautiful. I just wanted to give kudos to what you all are doing. I can't wait to see this show go to the next level. So great job, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so, Paz, I want to ask you a question. We got about 10 minutes left. Why do you think it's important for us to have a forum where we make candidates separate themselves? Because I think people are making an argument that, you know, especially in this climate we are now because of the presidential race at the top, we want forums or debates to be peaceful, right, or to be nice. But, you know, I remember Obama and Romney, Obama and McCain, there was room for civil discourse and to have those conversations. So why do you think it's important for us to do that?
Well, let me be real. I think people should be nice. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some of the stuff we see going on in our body politic today is absolutely extreme and unacceptable. So it's not an issue about being nice, but I do think you have to talk about the issues and you have to separate yourself from other people that you run against. Give me something, who you are in comparison to the other people I got to choose between. And you heard clear examples today. I mean, candidate Spidell made it clear that there are 3 people, in his opinion, who are new. They have not, done the work he's done. There's another 2 people there who's been there and they haven't done it when they had the opportunity. To me, that is a clear, you got something to ask questions about. So, and I think you should ask the new people, saying, okay, here you are. You're new. Why should we trust that you are going to, be able to have an impact on the school board if we haven't seen you up until now? Or people that's been there. You've been there. You've been there when our kids wouldn't get picked up every day on time. You've been there, when we've been having the challenge that we have. If you didn't do it then, why should we give you another 5 years to do it? Those are very, very important questions I think we have to ask. We have to give people the answer because maybe they have made progress. Maybe things are moving in the right direction, but I think it's up to us as a community, because here's what it boils down to, Emmanuel. The school board candidates, whoever's elected to the school board, will be responsible for overseeing the spending of $1.2 billion in taxpayer money.
It's a billy, man.
$1.2 billion. It's more money it's twice the amount of money we have to run the whole city of Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? So these 9 people on the school board are very powerful, very influential, and they have a big responsibility, because ultimately they are also responsible for whether our kids get educated or not. We've been living in making excuses why our children not get educated. At the end of the day, this is where it starts at. The buck starts with who we elect to represent us on the school board. And if we don't do a good job there, we deserve what we do get.
Yeah, and I think I was going to ask you that, because I think one of the things that I always say to people is that I know people, the city is a buzz about the mayor leaving, and we talking about all the state senates, the Supreme Courts, and all those things. But I don't think people really understand how important the school board is. Yeah. I don't think people grasp the gravity of the power the school board wield, and I don't know why that is. And I think one of the things we've been priding ourselves on, I think we're doing well, is trying to show people how important this race is, right? And why it's important. I attended the school board meeting last week Wednesday, and I had to leave because it was 9:00 and I got a family at home, and I had to get home to my son. It was bedtime. I got to put him to bed. And to that point, I was at the school board meeting, and I'm listening, and I'm here, and I'm saying, wow, wow, this is the school board, that we've elected. And I think one of the things that as parents you have to understand is that's how you make your voice heard. By voting for your school board members. And the beauty of the race we're talking about now is this isn't a district race, this is an at-large race. Right. This is a citywide race. And so your voice should be heard, because these are going to be the group of people, this group of 9 people that is making the decisions about your child's education. But not just your child, every child in the city, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. These are the people, right? And I want to stress to you all how important it is that you make your voice heard in this race.
Let me just do this before we go. Let me give a shout out to the Western New York Education Equity Task Force. A lot of great things going on in the Education Equity Task Force. We just decided on this topic of our next conference. As you know, we did the Igniting Equity in Education
People
conference.
People still talking about that conference.
In August, great job. So we're going to be looking at community schools in our conference coming up in March. The next thing we did last week, Thursday, we had a forum on the cell phone ban. So we're going to put out a recommendation on how we think the cell phone ban should be looked at. So if you go to UB Graduate School of Education and then just put the Western New York Education Equity Task Force, or just Google any part of that and it'll come up. But we are at the GSC website, and you'll see the work that we're doing. And finally, the last thing that I'm going to say, and I think is the most important of all things I've just said, is that one of the things that we advocated for and are in partnership with is a tutor and mentoring program. If you're a student in any school district in West New York, BOCES, City of Buffalo, charter, rural school district, and you know a child and you know someone who needs help in any subject, math, science, social studies, English, whatever, they need help, you can go to the Brainy Bulls website. You go just put Brainy Bulls, BRANY, Bulls, BULLS. Brainy Bulls is also at the UB Graduate School of Education, UBGSE, and you can get tutoring. We have a tutor and mentor program for all students 5th to 12th grade. So if you know a student that's falling behind and need help, they can go there and they can, they can schedule for a tutor who will, work with them virtually to be able to get them, caught back up. So many, it's interesting to me how in suburban communities, a lot of times those kids have access to more resources, access to more supports, and they still get tutoring. You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying.
Thank you for saying that.
So what I'm saying to you is out there, if you want your child to get ahead, and you can get support from a tutor. These are all, undergrads and graduate students at the University of Buffalo who will be tutoring the kids. If you need a tutor, again, UBGSC Brainy Bulls. Just Google Brainy Bulls. and you can get a tutor for 5th grade through 12th grade to help you with math, science, social studies, or English. So let's please, if you know a child that's behind, don't leave them there. Please, recommend them to be able to get this tutoring, because one of our goals here at, for the voters of Buffalo, New York, is to make sure that every child can read, write, and do math on grade level, and that every child graduates college and career ready. And so this is something that can help get us there.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I think one of the things that I enjoy about this show, and I enjoy about all the stuff we do, is that I have taken on this idea and this responsibility that we have to make the community better than we found it.
Yes, sir.
And I know that there's a lot that goes on a day-to-day or week-to-week in the community that we have concerns about. And there's things that I know this week it was the Little League stuff, and all that stuff is important. And the reality is, if all of us in the community commit to making it better than we found it, all we got to do is get 1% better every day, and it's better. And one of the things that you have to do in order to do that is make your voice heard by voting. You cannot be a person that sits on the sidelines during elections and then be one of the loudest people in the room when the election is over. If you don't make your vote count, that is in a way silencing yourself. And one of the things that me and my dad talk about all the time is that sometimes my generation don't understand what it took to get it, so we don't really advocate to keep it, and which in turn we lose it. I don't think people understand how hard it was for people to get the right to vote. You did not always have the right to vote in this country. That's right. And the reality is, having the right to vote is your opportunity to say something, to show something, to be something. And that is most important.
Your voice heard.
Yeah, that's most important. So again, we want to first, we got a minute left. We want to first thank WFO Sheila Brown, 96.5 FM, for giving us this opportunity to have this platform. Shout out to Brother Khalil Muhammad, who is doing all of the media work as it relates to the social media and the website. Shout out to Renato Graham, who was doing all the camera work. If you go on our Facebook Live, you see us. This is all his idea. He picked Seneca One. He picked all the stuff. So if anybody got anything multimedia related, hit up Renato. He does a wonderful job. Shout out to the Urban Think Tank, who is our chief sponsor for all the work they continue to do, all the work they do in sponsoring the show, and we appreciate them for giving us the platform.
Special shout out to NYCLU and to Education Trust New York, who have joined us as sponsors for the forum. Again, everybody remember, next Thursday, 6 o'clock. We will not be on the radio at 5:30 next week.
No.
Next week, we will be live on the air from 6 to 7:30. We'll be live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and we will live on WUFO Power 96.5 from 6 to 7:30 next week for the School Board Candidate Forum.
Yes, and thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, please go to the Facebook page for the voters of Buffalo N.Y. or you can go to the website at for the voters of Buffalo NY.org. And we close every show by saying, power to the voters. We gotta stop till they tell us to leave.